Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure review. Okay, so today will be a special video as we hop into the time machine and travel back a whole 26 years to the year 1999. From McFarlane Toys, we have the Spawn Nitro Riders. But more specifically, we have Eclipse 5000. Alright, so if you're an older collector like me, this might be something you remember. So in the 90s, McFarlane, they were making a lot of wacky yet cool action figures. Some of them were inspired by, of course, his Spawn comic book, and others were just completely new and unique designs and concepts. One of those really awesome designs and concepts was the Nitro Riders line. It fell under the Spawn banner, and it was a combination of cool motorcycles with really wild-looking action figures. For me, back in the day, I remember being really excited about this toy line, but once it came out, I think my excitement was kind of dulled down because the figures were much smaller than the mainline Spawn series of action figures. Whereas the normal Spawn figures were kind of like around a 6-inch scale, these were considerably a lot smaller. And that's probably to take into account for the addition of the vehicle. These figures came in at about 5.5 inches. And just for a size comparison, here it is next to a Marvel Legends. So you can see it's a much smaller figure. They were really cool, and when I saw this at my local collectible toy shop, I couldn't resist. I had to buy this. For me, it was a blast from the past, and I couldn't say no. The design of the motorcycle is very interesting. It seems like it kind of takes a page out of artist H.R. Geiger, who's known famously for designing the original Xenomorph from the first Alien film. The motorcycle is very futuristic, yet biomechanical in its design. You know, there's elements that look almost organic. For example, it even has kind of like the transparent hood on the back, much like the original Xenomorph in the first Alien film. And much like all McFarlane toys and action figures in the 90s, the detail on this thing is insane. It's like hyper detailed, very weathered and detailed paint application as well. You'll notice a lot of ink washing and dry brushing to really bring out the recesses and to accent the sculpted details. And it's pretty wild. The wheels are articulated, they spin. The front lifts up. And I kind of think this might have been a result of the popularity of the Akira motorcycle that McFarlane produced in the 90s as well. But it seems like for this one, they decided to go like full-on cyberpunk and just give us something completely new and unique. There's these kind of like antennas that plug into the back. And it's just a really wild-looking motorcycle. You know, from the side, the profile view, it's it's kind of crazy. It almost takes on a very dragster-like appearance with the larger rear wheel and the much smaller front wheel. There's kind of like these forks in the front, like forks literally, you know. Nice pointy stabby things. The windscreen, very alien in its shape and design. But the detailing, again, it's just very well done, very well executed. It's kind of like this gunmetal finish with a black ink wash, and then some parts like the gas tank, it's like a glossy black. And the exhausts are gigantic. So very well designed. I believe there were 4 Nitro Riders, but this one's Eclipse 5000. And then here is the driver for the vehicle. Even though I was disappointed by the figure's small size, it's incredibly well done. It's almost kind of reminiscent of like the Predator with the tendrils on top, and also the Japanese character Guyver from the manga and anime. It's also kind of Borg-like from Star Trek with all the kind of like techno-organics on his armor. Nice use of the paint also. You'll notice that in addition to like the matte black elements, there's some glossy elements to provide some contrast. And the figure is also articulated as well. His head moves, looks up and down. I think it's on the neck swivels, but the joint feels kind of stuck. I don't want to force it. The arms are articulated as well. They go up. I think do they bend at the elbow? No, they do not. He does feature a diaphragm cut, which is kind of surprising considering this is 1999. It doesn't afford much range of motion in terms of crunching forward or back, but this kind of like rocks around. The leg articulation isn't the best. You know, in the 90s, they didn't really know how to properly articulate the hips, so every time he'd kick up, they just go outward. They wouldn't go straight. And then he features a knee bend and, surprisingly, ankle articulation. So that's so you can situate the figure on the bike. Excuse me, let's do that right now. I believe he's supposed to be in a lying position. So the legs slide underneath these coverings in the back. And then he holds onto it, and his head kind of tilts up just a little bit. It's kind of wild, it's kind of wacky, but, you know, this was the 90s. And I don't know, I love this figure. I just wish it was at a larger scale. But very, very cool. So, and these fins, they kind of just fall off pretty easily. But yeah, I dig this a lot. It kind of makes me itchy to hunt down some of the other figures in the Nitro Riders line. You know, it's a very unique piece of McFarlane toy history. They don't really make stuff like this anymore. You know, McFarlane, they don't really take a gamble on like original IPs. You know, everything they do nowadays is, you know, outside the Spawn line of action figures, everything's just more so like licensed characters or, you know, from either comic books or movies. You know, there's, of course, the DC Multiverse line, which is incredibly popular. They have their movie Maniacs. You know, they've been dabbling in Warcraft. Of course, they're anime-inspired action figures. But they haven't really done completely unique characters in a long time, and I kind of miss that. And this is just kind of a small piece of history from a bygone era. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.